Nevertheless, he described love, grief, and mourning as biological processes and argued that the child's tie to his mother is the human version of behaviour seen commonly in many other species of animal. By putting that behaviour in its ethological context, Bowlby was able to give a far more plausible account of our primary attachments than those given by Freud and his immediate successors. Our personal affections, he argued, are to be explained in terms of the function that they perform in our environment of evolutionary adaptedness, and the explanation will not be couched in terms that make any radical ontological division between us and other mammals. The discovery of the hormone oxytocin and its effect in predisposing animals of many different species toward affectionate relations with their own kind has further encouraged the view that attachment can be understood and explained without reference to the stories with which we humans embellish it. When Darwin and Wallace first hit on the idea of natural selection, the question arose whether our many higher characteristics, such as morality, self-consciousness, symbolism, art, and the interpersonal emotions, create such a gap between us and the lower animals as to demand explanation of another kind. Wallace at first thought that they did not, but later changed his mind, coming to the conclusion that there is a qualitative leap in the order of things, setting the higher faculties of humankind in a different category from those features that we share with our evolutionary neighbours. As he put it, we are endowed with intellectual and moral powers superfluous to evolutionary requirements, and the existence of these powers could therefore not be explained by natural selection for fitness. Darwin, however, remained attached to the view that natura non facit saltus, and in writing The Descent of Man, tried to show that the differences between humans and other animals, great though they are, can nevertheless be reconciled with the theory of stepwise development. For Darwin, the moral sense is continuous with the social instincts of other species. Through the theory of sexual selection, he gave an enhanced account of the resources on which natural selection can draw, and made the suggestion, taken up in our own time by Steven Pinker and Geoffrey Miller, that many of the higher faculties of man, such as art and music, which seem on the face of it to be devoid of any evolutionary function, should be seen as resulting from selection at the sexual level. Darwin went on to give an account of human emotions in which their expression in the face and gestures is compared with the expression of emotion in other animals, and his purpose in all this was to suggest that the perceived gap between us and our evolutionary cousins is no proof of a separate origin. Genetics and games. This controversy has taken on an entirely different character since R.A. Fisher's pioneering work in population genetics. Problems with which Darwin wrestled throughout his life, the sexual selection of dysfunctional features, the problem of the peacock's tail, for example, or the altruism of insects, the problem of the ant-hill, are radically transformed when the locus of evolution is seen as the self-replicating gene rather than the sexually reproducing animal. And as John Maynard Smith and G.R. Price showed in an elegant essay, the new way of looking at natural selection, as governed by the replicating strategies of genes, permits the application of game theory to genetic competition, which in turn delivers a neat solution to another famous problem, that of aggression, noticed by Darwin and spelled out in detail by Lorenz. The rut among stags can be derived as an evolutionally stable strategy, one that enables the genes of rutting stags to reproduce themselves while providing the genes of hinds with the best return for their reproductive investment. This approach, generalized by R. Axelrod, has had profound consequences, for example, in showing that there might be an evolutionary advantage in reciprocally altruistic cooperation, even when not part of kin selection, as when female bats allegedly share their booty of blood with other unsuccessful females in a colony. It's also suggested a general theory of altruism, held by its supporters to explain not only the inflexible self-sacrifice of the soldier ant, but also the fear-filled and heroic self-sacrifice of the human soldier. It's important to recognize that the game-theoretic approach to altruism is distinct from the theory of inclusive fitness defended in W.D. Hamilton, The Genetical Evolution of Social Behavior, Journal of Theoretical Biology 7, according to which altruism extends to kin and in proportion to the degree of kinship. In short, we seem to have been brought a step nearer the proof of